Parshas Vayishlach, Tov Ayin Zayin. Very special night here at Bika Cholim of Lakewood. Want to wish a mazel tov to one of the chashuva volunteers of Bika Cholim, the Modchi Yehida, who is selflessly devoted to Bika Cholim. And you know, when everybody is so besimcha, you know that there's something very special about the person. And that's the way you walk in here tonight. Everybody has, like, their face is shining. They're all here ready to celebrate as soon as the shir is over. So we'd like to wish a mazel tov for the Modchi Brody, and they should be zoichet to build a bayis neven b'Yisrael, and you should be zoichet to keep coming back to our shir, because I don't know where you're going to live, but hopefully it'll be around here, because you're one of the mainstays over here. We don't want to let you go. The pasuk in Parshas Vayishlach, this week's parsha, Vayavo Yaakov Sholem Ir Shechem. Yaakov Avinu is now coming back to Eretz Yisrael, and the pasuk tells us that he came Sholem, he came whole, back to the city of Shechem, Asher Be'eretz Canaan. B'voyoi mi Padan Aram, Yaakov Avinu was coming from Padan Aram. Vayichan es penei ha'ir. And that's the pasuk that tells us about Yaakov Avinu's arrival now back. He had spent so many years away in Padan Aram. He was by his father-in-law. Yaakov Avinu had gotten married, and there were all the Shvatim were born. So much had happened, and now the pasuk tells us that Yaakov Avinu came back whole. He came back Sholem. And Chazal tell us that the word Sholem in the pasuk tells us that Yaakov Avinu arrived Sholem begufay, that in his guf he was Sholem. Sholem b'mamonai, financially he was set. He was also Sholem b'mamonai, right? And the third thing is Sholem b'toirasai. Yaakov Avinu, Sholem tells us he was Sholem, he was complete in all three of those things. And that is really the tachlis hashlemus that Yaakov Avinu had reached. You want to know what complete is? That is real being complete. When somebody is complete b'gufay, complete b'mamonai, and complete b'toirasai. So what does this teach us? The Nesivos Shalom asks us. What can we learn from Yaakov Avinu in this regard? And the Medrash tells us that when Yaakov Avinu arrived to Shechem, you know when that was? That was on Erev Shabbos. It was as sunset was approaching on Shabbos. That is when Yaakov Avinu arrived. Vayavoy Yaakov, that when he, just as he was coming in, the Shabbos Kodesh was coming in also. And the pasuk of Vayichan es penei ha'ir tells us that you know what Yaakov Avinu did when he came to the city of Shechem as Shabbos was coming? Yaakov was kaveya techumen. Yaakov Avinu established things for Techum Shabbos. Vayichan es penei ha'ir. Yaakov Avinu set himself up when he come in. The Shabbos was just arriving, and he was kaveya techumen before the Shabbos would set in. And we see from here, says the Nesivos Shalom, obviously, that Yaakov Avinu kept Shabbos before the mitzvah of Shabbos was given, because we see, obviously, Yaakov Avinu was long before they left Mitzrayim. So we see that Yaakov Avinu kept the halachas of Shabbos. He kept even the mitzvah of Tchumen before Shabbos was given. And then Nesivos Shalom points out from this Medrash that the Medrash tells us that by Avraham Avinu, we do not find anything where the mitzvah of Shabbos is mentioned by Avraham Avinu. So you know what? When Avraham Avinu was promised the bracha, when Avraham Avinu was promised Eretz Yisrael, it was given with boundaries. It was given with measurements. As the pasuk tells us by Avraham Avinu, Kum hisalech ba'aretz, go, walk the land, le'arko l'rachba. Kum misalech ba'aretz arko l'rachba. That the width and the length of Eretz Yisrael, in other words, it's measured right now. You see the width, you see the length, that is what you're going to get. But by Yaakov Avinu, it's a little bit different. By Yaakov Avinu, when we are mentioning the mitzvah of Shabbos, we mention Shmira Shabbos, when we say Vayichan es penei ha'ir, that Yaakov Avinu established Techumen and he did things, L'Kavod Shabbos and the Shmira Shabbos. Over there, you have a bracha without boundaries. Yaakov Avinu is given a bracha, not just l'arko l'rachba, the length and the width. No, Yaakov Avinu, you have a bracha. V'hoya zarachok afar haaretz ufarat toyama v'kedma v'tzafoyna v'negba. They're going to keep going and spreading out in every which direction. It is a bracha, a nachala, as we say, a nachala b'li mitzarim. It is an inheritance. A nachala, you're going to inherit, you're going to have a bracha, b'li mitzarim, without boundaries. And says in Nesivos Shalom, the reason Yaakov Avinu was zoicha to that is because Yaakov Avinu kept the mitzvahs of Shabbos. And the Shabbos brings a bracha of a nachala, b'li mitzarim. So Nesivos Shalom asks a very interesting question here. Why did the Torah pick, if the Torah wants to tell us that Yaakov Avinu did things for Shabbos, and because of the things that Yaakov Avinu did for Shabbos, he was zoicha to a nachal b'li mitzarim. Why do we use the mitzvah of Tchum Shabbos to teach us that? Why not tell us, I don't know, they tell us Yaakov Avinu made Kiddush on Shabbos, he was Mekadesh on Shabbos, that Yaakov Avinu did things with Kavod Shabbos. Why dafka the mitzvah of Tchumen? There has to be some kind of reason that the Torah uses this idea, Vayichan over here now, when Yaakov Avinu settled for Shabbos and he kept Tchum Shabbos, and that teaches us what Yaakov Avinu was about, that he was zocheh to such unbelievable bracha. So Nesivos Shalom tells us that Shechem was on the border just as Yaakov Avinu was coming into Eretz Yisrael. Like the Ramban tells us that the city of Sukkot, which was just on the other side of the border, was still in Chutz La'aretz. So it comes out, let's just think of the scenario, what took place over there. It comes out that Yaakov Avinu came into Eretz Yisrael just as the Shabbos was coming in. So what happened now? Yaakov Avinu walked into Shabbos and Eretz Yisrael at the same time. Those both powerful Kedushos hit Yaakov Avinu at the same time. And the Medrash tells us in Parshas Vayishlach, in the Medrash Tanchuma, in Parshas Vayishlach, and we've mentioned this a number of times, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu has a wish. HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants to have a residence. Where? In this world, in our world. And this applies itself, the Mepharshim tell us, and the Nesivos Shalom brings down, and from a number of different places, that this takes place where HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants to have a residence in three different ways. There's Olam, there's Shana, and there's Nefesh. Three different ways that HaKadosh Baruch Hu applies this Indian of having a residence. And in the world, in the Olam, what is it? The place of HaKadosh Baruch Hu's residence in the world is Eretz Yisrael. That's the way and the place Hashem finds his residence on this world. It is the place, Eretz Yisrael, Hashras HaShechina. In the year, in Shana, we have Shabbos. The Shabbos is the day of Hashras HaShechina. Thus far we have Eretz Yisrael, and we have Shabbos. And in Nefesh, we know there was no person to that point that epitomized what it is for Hashras HaShechina. Yaakov Chevel Nachalasai. Yaakov Avinu was on such a high level of Torah, Kedusha, and Shechina. So Yaakov Avinu now, when Yaakov, who he himself epitomized that Indian of a place for HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Yaakov Avinu, right before Shabbos, entered Eretz Yisrael, so everything was colliding at once. You had Yaakov Avinu, you had Eretz Yisrael, you had Shabbos. They all came together at the same moment, and it was the perfect dwelling place for Hashem on this world. And that is why our Pasuk tells us, says in Nesivos Shalom, Vayovo Yaakov Sholem Ir Shechem, because at that moment, it was a moment of complete shleimus. Yaakov Avinu, Eretz Yisrael, Shabbos, everything came together at one time. Yaakov Avinu was Mekabel Shabbos in Eretz Yisrael. Interesting to note that the word Shechem, Shin, Chaf, Men, the word Shechem is Rashi Tevois, Shem, Kavod, Malchusai. When Yaakov Avinu came to Shechem, he made the tremendous Kiddush Hashem of having Shabbos, Eretz Yisrael, and Yaakov Avinu epitomized Torah, and everything that had to do with Hashras HaShechina was all together. And it was there that the Shleimus was reached. And by most mitzvahs, you know, when you do the mitzvah, we know you are connected to the mitzvah. The mitzvah has boundaries. While you're doing the mitzvah, you're connected. That's another thing that has boundaries. However, the two mitzvahs that we're discussing right here now, Shabbos and Eretz Yisrael, you know the entire being of the person does the mitzvah. On Shabbos, not only is your Torah and your tefillah infused with Kedusha, but even your mundane things that you do, you're eating, you're sleeping, you're resting, you're learning, everything that you do, everything together is full of Kedusha. Your whole self is engulfed in Shabbos. So it's not just while you're doing the mitzvah. You come into Shabbos, you're keeping Shabbos, you're surrounded by the mitzvah of Shabbos for the entire 25 hours that it's Shabbos. And the same is for Eretz Yisrael. When a person lives in Eretz Yisrael, and you're Eretz Yisrael, it's like you're in a mitzvah. You're totally inside the mitzvah, and you can't, there's no other mitzvah like that, right? The Shabbos is Eretz Yisrael, where you're in the day, you're in the land, you're in the place, and that's it. You're totally surrounded by the mitzvah. And you know, even by the mitzvah sukkah, I know everybody's thinking over here now, what about sukkah? You go into sukkah. No, but that's only while you walk into the sukkah. You go into the sukkah, you eat, you sleep, and you go out. You go to shul, you go out. So you're not totally engulfed in the sukkah for the entire yontif of sukkah. So Yaakov Avinu reached this shleimus by having all these mitzvahs together. The Gemara Masechta Shabbos, Daf Kuf Yud Ches Amud Aleph, tells us that Kol HaMa'aneg Es HaShabbos Noisnin Loi Nachal B'li Mitzarim. Kol HaMa'aneg Es HaShabbos. And we've said a number of times also, notice that it does not say Kol HaMis'aneg B'Shabbos. That if you eat and drink and sleep and be merry on Shabbos, that is not called the cover of Shabbos. Kol HaMa'aneg Es HaShabbos means where you become a delight in the Shabbos, where your whole Shabbos, everything is about Avodas Hashem. Like Yaakov Avinu, V'achalticha nachlas Yaakov Avicha. Kol HaMe'aneg, not Kol HaMis'aneg. So you take your regular activities on Shabbos and things that you normally do during the week, all those things become full of Kedusha on Shabbos. During the week, you eat, you drink, you sleep. It's regular. That's all it is. Eating, drinking, and sleeping. You can try to do mitzvahs with it, but when it comes to Shabbos, you're doing it all for the Rebbeinu Shalom. And now we can understand why Dafka we use the mitzvah of Tchumen to teach us about Yaakov Avinu, that Yaakov Avinu was complete. You know why? Because what does Tchum Shabbos do? Tchum Shabbos takes your definitive place where you are and it expands it. It takes your regular place and it expands it out. And that is exactly what Yaakov Avinu was teaching us here. That you could come in and you could come to a Shabbos and you take all your regular activities and you turn them into a Kiddush Hashem. And that is the same thing as Tchumen, where you have your parameters, you have your place where you are, yet you expand it. And that is why the Torah Dafka uses the mitzvah Vayichan, that Yaakov Avinu came and he did Tchum Shabbos Dafka. That mitzvah teaches us the most about Yaakov Avinu. It teaches us about making Kiddush Hashem. It teaches us about everything that Yaakov Avinu stood for. And that is really the lesson that we want to take out of the Parsha here, is that when it comes to a Shabbos Kodesh, when it comes to doing a mitzvah, not everybody could be in Eretz Yisrael at every time, but every week we have the mitzvah of Shabbos, that every 7 days is Shabbos. The idea is not just to give yourself pleasure on Shabbos. The idea is to take everything that you normally do and make it a pleasure for HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Make everything into a Kiddush Hashem, everything. And Yaakov teaches us that. And because of that, we should be Zaychataka to the Nachal of B'li Mitzarim, to a bracha that is not confined, to a bracha that spreads out to every part of our life and every part of the world.